Hi, John. Thank you for coming in today. My name's Emma.
Hi.
Now, I know we spoke a little bit on the phone about, some of the things that you've been going through, but I was just wondering if you could elaborate and sort of really go in depth about what's brought you in today.
Yeah, so my employer asked me to come along to counselling.
Okay.
They don't really know what the actual problem is, I
Okay.
guess. So I guess from their perspective, I've been making a lot of mistakes at work. Sometimes, I get angry and have angry outbursts. I've had to take a little bit of time off, but I've not told them the
Okay.
reason for that. So basically, my partner, Paul, passed away recently.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so we were together for 5 years.
Okay.
We lived together, we were building a whole life together.
Yeah.
But he died of AIDS.
Okay.
Really recently. And it's really hard because nobody at work even knew that I was in a relationship. They don't know that I'm gay.
Okay.
And yeah, I feel really uncomfortable and worried that because I know that this work's asked me to come along for counselling. I'm really concerned that anything we talk about that we'll get back to them because I don't want them to know that I'm gay.
Right. Well, the piece of paper that I got you to sign when you first came into the office,
Yep.
so that was our confidentiality form.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, whatever you and I talk about, unless you want me to pass specific information on, nothing leaves here.
Okay.
This time that we have is just between you and I, and not one word will leave here unless that's what you've requested.
So you won't talk to them about anything
No.
we talk about? Okay.
Nothing that we talk about will go back to them.
Okay,
So just between us. You don't have to worry about
all right,
any of it.
Good. That's a relief. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
No worries.
Okay.
That's
good.
okay.
Yeah, that's really put my mind at ease.
Yeah.
In that case, yeah, I have a lot to talk about, I guess. Yeah. So not only do work not know that I'm gay, not even Paul's parents know about me.
Okay.
They didn't even know that Paul was gay.
Right. Okay.
So they live over in England, so
Yeah.
I guess they didn't see each other very often.
Okay.
And Paul just never talked about me.
So you can't even talk to them about it?
No.
That's really tough.
Yeah, I've never spoken to them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even my parents, they've when I came out to them, they were not good with it at all. And I guess they tried to just push it out of their mind for a lot of years when I was younger, and just because I just have flings here or there.
Yeah.
But once I was in a real relationship with Paul and we moved in together and it was really serious, I guess in a lot of ways they blamed Paul for corrupting me. I guess because they pretended that my homosexuality didn't exist before I had this very visible relationship with Paul.
Sounded like they were in a bit of denial.
Yeah, I think so. And once Paul came along, I was so proud of him. I loved to show him off and to my parents, and he was everything to me. So whenever I talked to my parents, Paul would always come up because we did everything together, you know. But yeah, my parents were not. And then because Paul died of AIDS, there was. They still go on about it. Every time I try and talk to them, they're like, "Have you been tested? Are you sure that you don't have AIDS?" They're just fixated on that.
Yeah, they're panicking.
Yeah, but we never really talk about Paul, or they don't care how I'm feeling. They're just worried that I might have AIDS. It's that's the most important thing, not how I'm coping.
Yeah,
they just couldn't care less.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been really rough. So I don't even have them to talk to about it. And with work, no one I work with, my boss, nobody knows what's happened.
Do you feel uncomfortable telling people at work? Is there any particular reason why you haven't brought it up with them? Or has the conversation just never really gone there? Or
the conversation's never gone there. I guess, like, I know that they're all, married in, regular relationships. So there's no one that's really similar to me in any way. They're all, especially my boss. He's a bit religious. Married with kids. And I guess everything comes down from him. So I would be concerned to talk to anyone else and word get back to him. And, I might be overlooked for promotions.
Do you have anybody in your life as a support system, or is it just you dealing with this on your own?
So my sister, she lives in Adelaide.
Okay.
She's like my rock.
Yeah.
We talk. She's really supportive of me. She and Paul used to talk on the phone. Like, we all just got along so well. But she lives in Adelaide.
Okay.
And she's got her own family and her own stuff going on.
So do you talk to her often?
I do try and talk to her. I mean, she's always available to talk to me. But I don't want to burden her.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, I talk to her at least once a week.
Yeah.
But I guess I try not to talk about Paul too much because I don't want her to worry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I just want to touch briefly on a term called disenfranchised grief. Is that something that you've heard of before?
No.
Okay, so disenfranchised grief is basically, it comes down to grief that somebody is going through from a loss that wouldn't exactly be acknowledged by the general public. So, for example, the loss of a pet. Losing a pet is very sad. It's a horrible time for you. But, your employers may not understand why you've taken a few days off work when you've only lost a pet. The same thing can happen if, say, someone who's married in a relationship has been cheating on their wife or husband or spouse.
Yeah.
And the person that they were cheating with, they pass away. It's not exactly something that you can talk about openly and be acknowledged or accepted by the general public.
Yeah.
And I think that this could correlate to your situation, especially with not being able to talk to your co-workers about Paul or them having any idea that he even existed. I feel like that could go with your situation. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that makes sense.
It makes sense. Okay. Some of the things that we need to be on the lookout for is, you've got your primary loss, which is Paul.
Yeah.
You've lost Paul. Now, you have secondary losses as well. So they call these the hidden losses.
Yeah.
Now, secondary losses come hand in hand with your primary losses. So you've lost Paul. Your primary losses are the things like the feeling that you got from Paul. So you've not only lost him as your life partner, but you've lost the companionship, and you've lost the responsibility of not only looking after yourself but looking after somebody else as well. And these can have an accumulative effect. So you may not think about them on a day-to-day basis, but months down the track they could creep up on you and make you feel worse, and they could bring you back down after already making progress.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that if you're feeling certain ways, like you said about having outbursts at work and not being able to concentrate, try and figure out why it is you're not being able to concentrate. Even if you can just write it down and then when you come in for your next session, we can go through it and try and work through whatever is happening in your subconscious that is causing these reactions. So I think, you know, it's really good that you've come in to see me. I know that I know it's a really horrible situation. It's not comfortable to talk about. But I really want to get to the bottom of basically get right deep in grief, into your grief and the way that you're feeling, and start working on some solutions to get past that. Does that sound good?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the hardest things is that I'm just not able to talk about Paul to my parents, even now. And, you know, they say things like they wish I'd never met him, but he was the most important thing in my life for 5 years. And it's just really hard not being able to talk to anyone about him. And about, like, I definitely can't talk about how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
That's like completely off limits. Yeah, I just can't stand how they talk about Paul. It really upsets me when they talk about him.
Have you spoken to them about how it makes you feel, or is that not really a subject that you guys broach?
Yeah, it's not really a subject that we talk about. But yeah, it's other than my sister, there's no one that I can talk to about how I feel. It's just me inside my own head, and then, you know, I'm at work, still can't talk about it. And things just get on top of me. And like so many people expecting things from me, and they don't know how much pain I'm in. It's really lonely.
Okay. How would you feel about the possibility of going to a support group? Is that something that you've thought about before?
Oh, look, I'm not opposed to it. I do wonder if I don't know, do they want to hear what I have to say either? I just feel like I keep hitting a brick wall when people don't listen.
Okay. Well, the idea of these support groups is that it's a group of people, so usually there'll be a counsellor there as well. So somebody who's not gone through what you're going through, they'll lead the session. And basically it's a group of people that have gone through what you're going through. So they've all lost a partner or a loved one, you know, and they're going through the same sort of grief, they're having the same sort of problems, and they all get together and they take it in turns and they talk through it with all of them, and they are able to offer their support to you, and you can offer your support in return to them. You know, it's a way to be able to build supportive relationships with other people who understand what you're going through, because they're going through the same thing. And it's completely confidential, so it won't leave there. You all sign a waiver when you walk in. It's all confidential, and you know, they usually hold them once a week. You're not obligated to go. If you decide that you don't want to go, that's completely fine, but I think it's something that you could really benefit from, you know, getting together and forming these supportive relationships, especially since you are very much on your own. You know, you can't talk to your parents and your sister lives far away. You know, you can't exactly just hop on a plane to go and see her. So I really think that would be a really positive way to move forward with you. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'd like to think about it, but if you could give me the information, or I can call you if that's
not a problem. Before you leave today, I'll print off some information. I'll make sure that my number's on there, and I'll give you I'll give you the names and numbers and emails of a few different organisations that do these support groups, so that we can try and narrow it down to one that you would feel comfortable going to. And even if you just give them a ring and ask them, you know, how it works, get them to give you the rundown on how these support groups go, and then you can decide whether it's for you or if it's not. And the good thing about it is it's completely up to you. No one's going to force you to do anything that you don't want to do. Nobody's going to force you to talk about anything that you don't want to talk about. So that's good.
Yeah.
Now, being a counsellor, I do have a duty of care, and it's not a nice question, but I do have to ask: Have you been having any suicidal thoughts or thoughts of self-harming or harming anybody else?
No, nothing like that.
Nothing like that.
I mean, it's been really rough. But Paul would want me to go on and live my life without him. Like, he told me that on his deathbed. And he'd had AIDS for a while, so we talked about, you know, what life would look like when he was gone. And yeah, no, I would feel like I was wronging Paul. If I were to not go on and live my life.
Okay, well, that's really good. That's really positive. It's a very brave and strong way to look at it. So that's really good. Now, I'm going to give you some information here about the common reactions to death. You can take it home and have a look over it. You know, it's something that you can refer back to if you're feeling certain ways and you're not sure if it's normal, and, you know, it might give you a bit more comfort in some of the ways that you're feeling, because what you're feeling is completely normal. It's completely normal and it's natural, and, you know, you don't need to feel bad for the way that you're feeling. You know, this is part of the grieving process, and the only way that you're going to be able to move forward is feeling the way that you're feeling. And it's absolutely horrible. It is really awful. But if you were to just push these feelings down, like I said, with the cumulative effects, they will come back later. So you're doing a really good job. You need to know that you should be proud of yourself. You're doing really well, and, you know, we're gonna get you to a place where you're feeling a lot better. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you.
Sounds good. Okay, that's really good. Now, would you be interested in coming to some more sessions?
Yeah.
Do you feel the session's gone well?
Yeah, this has been really good. It's been nice being able to just talk openly about what's happened.
Okay, that's really good.
Yeah.
Well, what we'll do is, once we're finished here, we'll go out and see reception, and we can organise some more appointments whenever you're free, whenever you feel comfortable with, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for coming in today.
Thank you very much, Emma.
See you later.
Bye.